you learn towards the end of that My Plate that there are some good fats for us and bad fats. Your solid fats are not as good for us, like your shortening and butter, margarine. It's better to have like an olive oil as a good fat. And then besides all those fat foods, we know that there's also fats in lots of sweets that we also like to eat. Protein helps build strong muscles. I could have put builds and repairs your muscles. Again, another part of My Plate. And it doesn't have to necessarily be meat. There's a lot of other things. We'll talk about that in a little bit. At the end, before I go off, I'll talk a little bit about My Plate. Then we have water, which has many functions. Waste removal, chemical reactions. It helps break your food down in digestion after you eat. It's a moisturizer for your skin, and it helps regulate your body temperature. It makes up over 60% of our body's weight. I think our textbook says 68% of our body. I've seen as much as 72% of your body is water weight. Then we have vitamins, and again, not all listed, but we have vitamin A, which is needed for healthy skin and normal vision. If you don't get enough vitamin A, you get something called night blindness, which in simple terms, you have a harder time adjusting to the darkness. People with severe night blindness wouldn't drive their car at night because they just can't see. That would be terrible. Good sources of vitamin A would be, yes, carrots. You know, they always say have carrots for your eyes, and it's true. There's a lot of vitamin A. Leafy greens. Milk, they fortify, which means they add vitamin A to it. Apples have some vitamin A, so think of your fruits and vegetables. The B vitamins, B1, B6, B12, thiamine, niacin, and riboflavin or riboflavin, it's pronounced both ways, are needed for a healthy nervous system. Your main source of B vitamins would be in your grain group, so lots of breads and cereals would be high in your B vitamins. If you look at a cereal box, a lot of times, even right on the front, sometimes it'll say it has vitamins in it. Vitamin C is ascorbic acid. So sometimes if you look at a label, it'll say ascorbic acid. You don't want to mix it up with acetic acid because that would be vinegar. Ascorbic acid, a good way to remember it does have the C, ASC, ascorbic, needed for resisting colds. So when they say to have your orange juice, because we know vitamin C is high in citrus, that's true. All your citrus, kale is pretty high in vitamin C. Strawberries would be a good source of vitamin C. Vitamin D, it's called the sunshine vitamin because where do we get it from? Sunlight is our good source. It is needed for bone development. You can also find a lot of vitamin D again in dairy products. Vitamin K, which is potassium, which they talked about in the My Plate information, is needed for blood clotting. I know this firsthand because I won't go into it here. Long story short, I was low in potassium. This is, probably going on 8 years, maybe longer. I was actually put into the hospital because my potassium was so low. So bananas, potatoes, raisins, I know are all high in potassium. And then I was taking also potassium pills, which are not fun because they're those great big huge, what we kind of call like horse pills, just to get my potassium back up. So it's important, as many of these nutrients obviously are. So I'm going to come back to you here. I went through that pretty fast, but does anybody have any questions on the nutrients? I see Jacqueline, I got to mark you, I see you came in. I'm just going to ask you some questions from my plate as a review. Can anybody think of any of the 5 vegetable subgroups? Does anybody remember there were 5 different subgroups that they broke the vegetable group from my plate down into? They categorized them. 2 of them are related to color, if that helps anybody. There we go. Dark green and red and orange. Those are the color ones. And then there were 3 starchy, good, which would be your potatoes, your beans, your corn. Yes, there was a group called other, which kind of calculated like cauliflower and artichoke, beans and peas. Great, you got them all. Dark green, red and orange, starchy, other, beans and peas. How about, I'm trying to think of one question for each part of the plate. When we'll think about grains, can I tell just by looking at bread if it's brown, then it's whole grain? What do they do to it that might trick us to thinking it's whole grain? Yes. They might put food coloring in, or what other ingredient did they say they sometimes add? Yes, molasses, that you probably saw that sticky syrup. Molasses is used in like gingerbread or molasses cookies, ginger snaps. It's a syrup. Sometimes people put it on pancakes. I don't care for it on pancakes myself because it's kind of a stronger flavor to it. How about fruits? What are some ways we can get more fruit into our daily diet? There were lots of answers. Good. Keep it out where you can see it so you have a temptation to grab it. What else did they say? Juices, as long as it's 100% fruit juice, right? Because you have to be careful that it doesn't say fruit drink. Yep, with pulp. Smoothies, like what we're going to do, put it into, they had like pancakes, yogurt, cereal, so add it to other fruits, have it as a snack, uh, cut it up into pieces, yep, so it's right, bite-sized, ready to eat. How about the dairy group? What are some things that are not included in the dairy group? What food products are not included? Good. Cream and butter. Again, things that we like, high fat content. In the old, what you guys probably remember is the pyramid, butter used to be in the dairy group, but because of its fat content, when they came out with my plate, they removed that and put it in the not included. Good. Cream cheese, sour cream, butter, cream, those are all ones that would be not included. And let's see, what else did we talk about? Protein. Other than meat, what are some other sources of protein in the meat group? Good. Eggs, nuts, tofu, seeds. Good. Does anybody like tofu? It's not one of my favorite things. Yep, peas, dried beans. Tofu tastes like plastic. Yeah, some people like it on salads. In my second level We didn't this year, but in the past when we've studied Asian cuisine, we've made like tofu smoothies. Instead of using yogurt, we've used tofu. So then you don't realize it tastes, has a better flavor, I think. It still, to me, kind of had a chalky taste to it when we made it into a smoothie, but it's possible. All right, so that's good. You retain some of that information. I told last hour that I would probably have a review quiz on my plate because there will be questions when we get to nutrition test a couple weeks down the road. And questions on the function of nutrients. It'll be a matching. So I'll usually do some practice quizzes for you so you know what's going to be on that. As far as next week, we're doing cookies. So the lab will be cookies. Again, I'm giving you a 1 week window. I will share the Mrs. Fields chocolate chip cookie recipe and snickerdoodles. I'm only going to have you do one. Usually in class we do two. But I'm only going to have you do one so we can keep progressing because, as you know, this trimester is shorter already. And so I want to make sure we hit all the units. So we'll do cookies and then we'll start talking about the function of ingredients and quick breads. But next week lab will be cookies, which should be easier for most people because you can make just a plain sugar cookie. You could make peanut butter cookies. You could make the chocolate chip cookies. So lots of choices. Always remember, if you can't do the labs, there's the Culinary Arts Lab options chart, which now I think I've shared, and all the links should be open because you all were needing access to it. So yesterday I went through and I think all of them should be shared now that you can get into them. So if you can't, because I realize not everybody's going to be able to get the ingredients, you can sure do one of those options. That's what I have for you today. If you have any questions, we'll probably be live Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. I'll be working on my plans in the next day or two here for next week. I've kind of sketched it out, and I think maybe Tuesday is probably the day we'll be going live. Does anybody have questions on anything? Doesn't have to be what we talked about today, but any questions on anything? Please try to do the serve safe. I want to get a good response from that. So if you can do that serve safe food handler for free and take the test, that'd be awesome. For the smoothie, it can be, yes, it can be any smoothie. You could make one with yogurt if you wanted to. If there's one that you like to make, some people make smoothies, I know, every day for breakfast. So yes, anything that, just make sure you show me. It helps if you can be in the picture when you do it, so I can actually see you're doing it, versus I'm just going to find a picture of a smoothie and this will do it. You're not learning anything by doing that, obviously. I would like to see you in the picture and making the smoothie. Tatum? You don't have to make a video. You can. I want to see a picture or a video of you in the screen, if that makes sense, when you submit it. Like I said, most people are going to be honest and do it, but I know that some people would go, oh, I'll just find a picture of some cookies, and when it's Cookie Lab, I'll just say I made these. You're not learning anything, right? You're in the class to try to learn some basic skills. So if you haven't made a smoothie, or you make one all the time, and just go ahead and make it and show me that you did that. Other questions? All right, then I will let you go. Have a great day, a great week, and I'll talk to you next week.